Good evening. I'm Tuning Stan. If you've not met me before, I'm a developer, a hobbyist developer who develops games for PCs from 1981 with 4-colour graphics and PC speaker sound. Although in today's example there's no sound at all. Today I'm going to be playing Anarchic Kingdom. And let me just break the chat out because that's the one thing I forgot to do before I started the stream. Bear with me. Pop out chat. I'll move it over here where I can see it. Crispy like crisps, hello. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining me. This game that I'm about to play is, or was I should say, a jam game for 2021. This is my entry to, I think, the spring or end of year game jam that year. So it was actually written within the month. I think I took about a month to write it before the jam started, and then spent the jam time actually getting it tested, because the DOS game jam usually is quite relaxed on letting you start things before the actual jam date. So, oh hi Martine, nice to see you. So I'm going to be playing my least popular game today. The funny thing about this, if I look at the itch stats, is that a lot of people look at this game. I think it was for a long time the second most viewed game, but it's the least downloaded. So I get the idea that people like the pretty graphics. They come and look at it, and then they see that it's a game where you're entering numbers and things like that, and they go, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But I'm going to have fun with it today. So I've chosen Villiers as the barony that I'm going to take on for myself, mainly because I just like the cool little ship on the shield. You can have this multiplayer up to 8 players, but I don't know if anybody's ever played that since we did it once in testing, I think, and then since then I've only ever seen it played single player. So let's have a go at starting the game. I'll read this out for you if you don't know the text. The old king has died, leaving his young son not yet ready to rule the kingdom. The minority of the young king will last another year, during which anarchy reigns. 8 of the most powerful lords of the kingdom will take advantage of this period of anarchy, bolstering their own power in order to have the most influence over the young king when he takes control. Build stout castles, train faithful knights, draft a multitude of footmen, and set about your opponents to take as much of their land and gold as you can over the next 12 months. Good luck. So every game has 12 turns, and you start with this this view, which was inspired by the Bayeux Tapestry that recorded the invasion of England by the Normans, and I thought this colour set really suits it. So yeah, the graphics don't actually mean anything. They do change, they're all the little symbols on the map, but it's not an actual map. The locations of it is all irrelevant. It just, you get bigger and more impressive buildings the better you're doing, and if the computers all beat me to a pulp, you'll see a lot of these buildings and things disappear. So there'll be no report for the first turn because I've only just started. So the first thing I'm going to do is spend. And so we can, like it said in the introduction, build castles, train knights, draft footmen. And what I usually do is I start out by building 10 castles. Notice that the maximum number that you can build of each thing changes as I type in, because now I spent 10 on the castles, I can no longer afford 400 knights, it's just 300. So I'll buy 100 knights, and I shall draft 1,000 footmen. That will leave about half my money. It's not a good idea to spend all of your money on the first turn, because you then need to pay your soldiers and your knights. And if you've got no money left, then you're going to end up being bankrupt, which in this game means that knights and footmen start to wander off. So I should go done on there. The next thing I'm going to do is to look for somebody to attack. And at the start of the game, everybody is on a level footing. Everybody's got 4,000 land, 4,000 peasants, 4,000 gold, and the number of knights, castles, and footmen that you see on there on the right, 4,400 and 4,000 respectively. So there's no real reason to attack one barony over another. So I am just going to look to see which barony has the opposite. You see the terrain at the top there. I've got forest and mountains. So I'll attack the Nevils because they're, like they say, it's as good a reason as any to pick a person to attack. So then I select the attack option at the bottom there. And I'm going to send, I think I'll send half my knights against them and half my footmen. And I'm considering whether I should attack somebody else, because I've still got 200 knights and 2,000 footmen left at home. The footmen do help defend against others attacking me. But, yeah, let me see. There's me. There's Percy. I think what I'll do is I'll send a speculative attack against Percy, but I'll only use 1,000 footmen along with the 2,000 knights, just so I've got some defences left at home. And then once I'm done with that, everybody moves simultaneously, so sending those attacks, they haven't actually gone, they're ready to go as soon as I select done, which I'll do now. So everybody is sending out their attacks, and I can immediately see that I've dropped down to 4th place, although I have increased the amount of land. So I shall read my reports while I have a sip of tea. So it tells me, you attacked the barony of Neville with 200 knights and 2,000 footmen. You took 1,142 land, looted 428 gold, took 5 castles and razed 5 castles. You slew 571 footmen and lost 85 knights and 857 footmen. So this is the reason why I won't normally send out, even though knights don't defend, I won't send out all of my knights usually in a turn. This is the exception this first turn, because you lose so many of them. If you send out all your knights every turn, you end up only having a handful by the end. So that attack was successful. So let's see what the next bit of news is. I attacked Percy with 200 knights and 1,000 footmen. I took 922 land and looted 269 gold. Took 5 castles, razed 3, slew 461 footmen, lost 92 knights and 461 footmen. Yeah, the way the attacks work, it's all deterministic. There's no luck in it at all. The only luck in this game is who the computers decide to attack. And knights and footmen will take land. Footmen will loot gold as well. So if you send no footmen, you'll get no gold. Knights will take castles while footmen raze them. So that's why we took more castles than we raised. And then the number of, we slew no knights because knights don't defend. We only slew footmen. And then the numbers that you lose are just proportional. So if your force is twice as bigger than theirs, they'll lose more of a proportion of their defences than you do, of your attackers. So let's see what the next report is, because we're about to find out, although we took about 2,000 land, we're about to find out why we don't have 2,000 more than we started with. And it's because the Howards attacked us with 200 knights and 2,000 footmen. So they took, I won't read all the numbers out now, they took a big bunch of land off us, nearly as much as we took off the other baronies. Looted a lot of gold, they took some castles. In fact, I think we're up on castles because we took 10 altogether. But the Howards razed 9 of our castles, so I think we're only about 3 castles ahead, but we'll find out when we go back to the other screen. So they slew a bunch of footmen, but they also lost quite a lot of knights and quite a lot of footmen. And luckily that was the only attack. So 1,600 people settle in the barony. You'll usually get people coming into your barony because when you train knights and footmen, that comes out of your population. So at the end of the turn, I'll have had a lot more land and a lot less people. So, of course, people will come flocking to use all the available land. So, the other extreme is if you get a lot of land taken from you and you haven't recruited a lot of your population in forces, you end up having less land than people, and then people start to leave. But it's rare to see that if you're sending out attacks and recruiting forces each turn. So that's just reminding me, I built the 10 castles, trained 100 knights, drafted the footmen. Sometimes you don't see this because if you can't afford what you've asked for, there'll be a message telling you so. And yeah, this is why I didn't spend all of my money on the first turn, because I've got all of this to pay. So yeah, 43 castles, as I guess it's about 3 more than I started with. 323 knights and 3,200 footmen. So let's see what we've got now. Yeah, that's the exact numbers we've got left. So you see, I started with 400 knights. I recruited 200. And so I should have had 600, but with all the losses of sending out 400 knights, I'm down to 323. So I'm going to be more careful in the following turns. So let's see, we've got barely any gold as well. So yeah, we started with 4,000, we've got 853. So I will not build any castles. I think I'll just recruit 50 knights. And no, I'll revise that downwards. I'll have 25 knights and 250 footmen. The numbers aren't that scientific, I'm making them, and I shall send this time not much more than half of my forces out when I attack. So I think this turn, let's do a revenge attack. The Howards attacked me last turn. I'll attack them this turn. Let's just see how they are. Howards. Oh, they're in first. Maybe it might not be a good idea to attack them. Because, I don't know, they don't have that much more forces than I do. It's just that they've got an awful lot of land. Which is good because it means that they'll be quite weak. Lots of land, not the right proportion of forces to defend it. So this might actually be easy pickings. So we'll see. I shall attack. Now, half of 320, that's 160. I'll round that up and send 200 knights against them. And the same with footmen. No, actually with footmen I'll send 1,600. Oops, 1,600. Because footmen too, because they defend as well as attacking, they do tend to dwindle in numbers if you're not careful. So I've done my buying, I've done my attacking. I'll just attack one barony this turn and see how it goes. So let's go. Done. Have a sip of tea while everybody is attacking me. And I can see already that that was a bit of a disaster because I've got less land now than I started with. So let's see what the damage is. So I attacked the Howards with 200 knights and 1,600 footmen. I took 1,100 land and looted a paltry amount of gold, possibly because they didn't have much. I took some castles. I slew a bunch of footmen. I only lost 81 knights this time. And 654 footmen, so that should be not quite as bad. But I was attacked by the Percies. They got a revenge attack in on me. 207 knights, 1,284 footmen. They took away, this is why I'm down on land, they took more land from me than I took from the Howards. Looted, luckily, a small amount of gold. Took some castles, raised some castles, slew some footmen, and they actually lost more footmen than they slew, which I'm glad of. Yeah, a lot fewer people came into the barony this turn than last turn because I don't have as much land. And yeah, I'm going to regret not building any castles this turn. Problem with castles is they're expensive. When I wrote this game, I might have made the castles too expensive. Because you can barely buy... You can't in a turn usually buy as many as are going to get taken and razed to the ground. So your main way of getting castles is to attack. I paid 1,055 gold, so we'll see what I've got left. I've got a bit more gold this turn than I did last turn, but if you look, I've only got 267 knights and 2,000 odd footmen, so yeah, things are going downhill. So I think I'll just buy 4 castles. I can only afford to buy... I think I'm going to divide my gold between footmen and knights this time. So let's see, we're in 5th place now. The Percys attacked us. Let's see how they're doing. They're up in 2nd. I think I should pick on somebody my own size this time, since it didn't go that well for us last turn. If I look and see who's in 4th place, just one above me. Page through. That's the De Veres. Okay, so I'll attack the De Veres and see if we can take some of their land. I don't think it's worth sending less than 200 knights. So I'm going to send 200, and I think next turn I'm going to buy a lot more knights, spend a lot more on knights than footmen. And I'll just send 1,000 footmen. And then I shall see how that goes. Make sure my tea doesn't go cold. Right, so I'm still in 5th position. I've got, I think, about the same amount of land as I had last turn. So I've not gone forward or backward. And I think I had 34 castles last turn. So I've lost 1 castle overall, but the reports will tell us exactly what happened. So we attacked the De Veres, and we took 1,100 land. We're not looting much gold here, probably because I only sent 1,000 footmen. Took a few castles, so a few footmen, but I lost more footmen than I attacked. One of the reasons for this happening is that when you send footmen, even though the knights aren't involved in the defence, you've got the enemy footmen who are left behind there, and the enemy castles fighting against you. So, yeah, and then I was attacked by the Nevilles with 181 knights, 805 footmen. So that's a smaller attack than I'm sending out. That's encouraging. They took 1,300 land. So they took more from me than I took from the Percys. No, it wasn't the Percys I attacked, was it? It was the De Veres. And they took 8 castles and raised 4, so I lost 12 castles there. Oh, pardon me. And yeah, they slew 447 footmen but lost 500 and odd. So we'll see. Oh, and then we get the people coming into the barony. 1,000 people. This is reminding me of what I built. And yeah, as my forces get ever smaller, I'm spending less on them. So let's see what's going on here. I've only got 858 gold now, so I'm in a bit of a dire position here because I've got no gold to spend on forces. And my forces are dwindling, so I'm not going to get much back in attacks. So, oh, I forgot to check. Oh no, I didn't forget to check how many castles I had. It was 33. I'm not going to buy castles because I think I've got to spend all of my money on knights. And then this time I'm going to attack the person who's below me, I think, in the hope that they're weaker and have easy pickings. So let's see who's in 6th. Oh, you can see the effects that my attack had on the De Veres, though, because they're down in 7th now. They were in 4th last turn. Oh, it's the Howards again. So they haven't done that well out of attacking me a few turns back because they're now quite far down the table. So let's attack these. I think I'm going to be conservative and just send 100 knights. And I don't want to send more than half my footmen because the numbers will keep going down. So I shall, oops, I shall leave 1,000 behind and just send 794. I'm not expecting to get a lot of land out of this, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't get yet another heavy attack against me. So let's see how this goes for me. It's only April and I'm dwindling. Ah, that's better. I'm up into third. I've got 4,600 land, which is more than I started the game with, so let's see what happens. I suspect that nobody attacked me. So I attacked the Howards, as we remembered last time. I took, less than 1,000 land, so it wasn't a huge amount. Looted nearly 200 gold, which isn't going to do that much for me, I don't think. Took a few castles, threw some footmen. Let's see what else. Yeah, nobody attacked me that turn, which I'm glad of. 1,400 people settled in the barony this time and paid quite a bit in tax. I built no castles this time, trained as many knights as remember. I paid a even more dwindling amount on my dwindling forces. And yeah, you see, my footmen are down to 1,200 now, and my knights are kind of holding steady. So I think this is the way to go until I'm out of trouble, is small attacks, unless I get desperate. So spend. I'll buy one castle. I don't like to not buy any castles. Train knights. I think this time I'm going to hold most of my knights back and get my numbers of footmen up. You tend to find it safe to spend all your money on each turn after the first turn because you're starting to get taxes in. The problem you get spending all your money on the first turn is that you end up recruiting all of your peasants for building various things, and then you have no peasants left to pay taxes at the end, so you don't have the upkeep money for your forces. And it's a good way to ruin your game at the very start by spending all your money on the first turn. So now let's see. I'll go back to my usual thing I do. I either attack the player who's ahead of me or the player who's behind. So let's see who's in second and who's in fourth. So Cavendish is in second. They have quite a large number of castles and footmen though. So let's see who's, if I remember that Cavendish have 52 castles. Let's see. Yeah, Delapole have 47 castles, which isn't that much less, although they've got quite a lot less footmen. So let's also check how much land the second place has, 4,900, as opposed to the fourth place, 4,200. Yeah, I don't think there's much in it. I'm going to attack Cavendish because I might net more land that way. So if I attack them, I'm just going to send 100 knights again. I'm going to do the same as I did last time and leave 1,000 footmen behind. So it's not a very big attack at all, but we'll see how it does. Yeah, I'm still in third place, but the amount of land I've got has been knocked right back. It was something like 4,600. Now it's 4,100. So we'll find out why. My gold's not looking too bad though. So I attacked Cavendish with 100 knights and 228 footmen. Yeah, I only took 669 land. And I was attacked by the Percys with 100 knights, 600 footmen, and they took far more land from me than I took from Cavendish. So some more people came into the barony. I built what we remember that I built. Of course, this means that I've got a lot fewer knights this turn. I paid 888 gold for the upkeep. Yeah, I've only got 165 knights. So I think what I'm going to do, I can only afford, I think, to send out about 65 knights. If I continue sending even half my knights, that number of knights is just going to go down and down and down until I get an influx of gold. So I think I'm going to send an attack that's more footman heavy than knight heavy this time. And I think I will actually punch down this time and attack whoever's in 4th place. So we find out who's in 4th place. That's the Nevilles. And they've still got 4,000 land, so that's quite a lot of land. And yeah, they don't have many defences at all, even though the land is only a little bit less than me. So they do look like a good soft target for this turn. So I will send just 65 knights. And so I'm leaving behind 100 knights, and I'll leave behind 1,000 footmen, send 819, and see how that does me. It's not going to be spectacular, but if I'm lucky, I'll either hold my position or maybe advance to 2nd. So let's go done. Okay, I've lost a bit more land now. And let's see why. But I'm still in 3rd place, so that's not bad. So I attack the Nevilles. I'm pleasantly surprised I actually took 1,000 land and 4 castles. So let's see. I lost an awful lot of footmen on that attacker. The Beaumonts attacked me with more forces than I can afford to send out at the moment. They took about 1,000 land, 1,100 land from me, and looted quite a bit of gold, which I don't like that. So let's see how the barony is. Only 455 people came to settle this month. 614 gold. So I have, oh, look at the amount of gold though. I've got 3,663 gold. So that is mostly in from the taxes because I've not been recruiting that many people. So I should now be able to afford, yeah, look at that. I can afford to spend money on 200 knights. And even after spending that, I can go for 1,500 footmen. So let's see what I've got. So I've got 117 knights, 936 footmen. I don't want to sit tight and not send an attack out because if anybody attacks me, I'll lose out quite badly. So I think I'm going to punch down again. So Delapos, I can't remember if I attacked them this year. Computers don't hold grudges, by the way. They decide completely at random who they're going to attack. I didn't build, in a month's jam, I didn't build any spectacular artificial intelligence into this thing. So we'll attack these. And I think I will send about half my force this time because I know that I've just spent quite heavily this month on recruiting a lot more knights and a decent number of footmen. So I'll send about 450 footmen. And we go done on that and see where that gets me. I'm not actually expecting to advance from 3rd with these pathetic little attacks. And I'm back into 5th now. Oh, that doesn't look good. 0 gold. I think the reports are going to be quite catastrophic. So I attacked the Delapos with hardly anything. I took 500 land. Oh, excuse me, which is reasonable. But I think there maybe have been a couple of heavy attacks against me. I was attacked by the De Veres, who took 800 land from me. See the small numbers of knights and footmen that are being sent against us now. It's no longer like 200 knights and 2,000 footmen. So that's presumably the De Veres were in a worse state than we were. Looking at the way my land had gone down, I was expecting to see a lot bigger attack against me than that. So 1,800 people came and settled in the barony. But yeah, we can see why I'm running out of money. My people paid 66 gold in tax, and I've realised why now. I spent that much last month and recruited that many peasants to the military that I imagine I had hardly any peasants left to pay any tax. So that is why I've 0 gold. So I built no castles. Yeah, due to lack of funds, 14 castles fell into ruin, 139 knights deserted my cause, and 1,025 footmen died of starvation. And I paid what was probably my last 484 gold, keeping up the castles, knights and footmen who were left. So yeah, notice how sparse my map looks now. So I don't have 200 knights plus. I only have 139, so there's no spending to be done. I think this calls for desperate measures. What month is it? It's August, so there's still a lot of the year to go. But if I don't start sending out the tax, if I simply conservatively, I'm just going to languish here in 5th place. So I'm going to take a risk. And I'm going to attack. Let's have a look at who's in first. Right, they've got 313 knights, but that doesn't matter for the defence. They've got 1,450 footmen. That's the Percies. What can I send against them? Yeah, if I send 139 knights and 1,025 footmen, they're not really going to make a dent in that. So, what position I'm in? I'm in 5th. So, let's not be that ambitious. Let's look at who's in 4th. Yeah, that looks more like it. They've got 605 footmen defending and 46 castles. So, I've got a chance, and they haven't got that much land, but yeah, I can't really afford to attack the bigger players at the moment. And I'm going to go all out and see where that gets me. Now, I expect next month I'll have barely any forces because I'm not recruiting any this month. You don't get any in attacks, you don't capture forces. So, oops, that's me. Yeah, you don't capture forces. And yeah, I'm not recruiting any, but hopefully I'll have some land and some gold to spend. So we'll see how this goes. Rank 6th, so it did not go well at all. But I do have gold, so let's see how that happened. So I attacked the Delapels with everything I had, and I took 1,079 land. But yeah, I was attacked by Cavendish, who I think must have been in 2nd place, and they took 2,000 land off me. So they didn't loot any gold because I didn't have any. They're hardly taking any castles because I hardly have any. And they slew no footmen. That's right, because I sent all my footmen out. So, but the reason they took 2,000 land is because I had no footmen defending and hardly any castles. So my land was just there for the taking. 448 people settled. Not very many because I've got not much land. Yeah, I paid 287 gold, but at least I didn't lose anything this time in forces. So yeah, I've got 1,840 gold. So I'm going to spend... I think the first thing I'm going to do is get a few more castles there. Should I recruit knights? Or so if I don't recruit knights, then they're my main attack force and I won't be able to continue making attacks. But if I don't recruit footmen, then again I'll be at the mercy of inbound attacks. So I think I'm going to go 50-50, although that's not going to really do much for me. And I think I'm going to spend, yeah, I'm only going to have, like, if I don't lose anything, then that'll leave me with 110 knights and 900 footmen next turn, which is, you can't really do much with that. So let's see, should I even bother sending out an attack? I think I'm going to send out a really puny attack against whoever is in last place. Actually, no, I'll punch down to 7th. I'm in 6th, so I'll see what's in 7th place. Yeah, I'll attack these. And I'll just do a simple formula of sending about half what I've got. Let's see how I do against the Beaumonts. Terribly, I'm in last place now. So let's see what happened there. We have... Yeah, I took 267 land. I wasn't expecting to take much. Sending a tiny attack against a tiny kingdom, tiny barony. And yeah, whoever attacked me, was it Neville's, took 1160 land from me. 677 people settled in the barony. I built 8 castles. You build things after the attacks have been settled. So the Neville's, when they attacked me, I think it was Neville's, didn't take any of the castles that I built. I paid 413 gold for upkeep. How much does that leave me? That leaves me with next to nothing in gold. But I do have 18 castles. I think I was down to 14 on the previous turn. So I am going to spend again. Should I buy 2 castles to take it up to a nice round 20? No, I think it's pointless buying 22 knights. You can't do anything with 22 knights. Yeah, I think I'll do footmen and see. And to be honest, should I even bother sending out an attack? Yeah, I'll send out an attack. Let's look and see who's in 7th place. The Beaumonts are in 7th place. I think they were a lot higher than that last time I looked at them. Again, I'll just send out half of what I've got. I'll just follow this pattern in the hope that eventually I get a break and I don't get a big attack from somebody. So October 10th, we're nearing the end of the year, so I doubt very much whether I'm going to win this one. But I have moved up from 8th to 6th, so things are looking up. So we'll see the report and see what happens. So I attacked the Beaumonts. I took 394 land. Wow. Took 3 castles. Nobody attacked me. I think that's why I managed to move up. I got a bit of a respite. So 600 people settled in the barony. I just drafted 220 footmen. I paid 406 gold for the upkeep and I've got 709 left. So I'm still scraping along here because I can't really afford to recruit much. Do I carry on recruiting footmen? No, I think I'm going to go for knights this time. And yeah, my attacks are really pathetic this turn. If I send out half of what I've got, I'll punch down again. We'll attack the Beaumonts. Again, sending about half of what we've got. And see where that gets us. Oh, that's worked. We're up into 4th now. I mean, 4th is still pathetic if you look at it, because I've got 2,400 land, which was not much more than half of what I started the game with. So before I look at the reports, looking at the fact that I'm in the upper half of the table, because there are only 8 players, and I've got a pathetic amount of land, I'm just curious how the other players are doing. So, not the lower players, the higher players. Yeah, 7,000 land for Cavendish in 2nd place. And who's in 3rd place got 5,000 land. Yeah, 1st place has got 8,900 land. So a lot of the land is concentrated in the top 3. So, right, let's have a look at the reports then. So I attacked the Beaumonts, took 179 land, which is like nothing. Nobody attacked me. I can tell by the fact that I took a pathetic amount of land and moved up in the rankings. So 762 people settled in the barony. I trained 70 knights, paid 400 golds, and yeah, I've still got a pathetic amount of gold, so I will spend, I can't even afford 70 knights this time. I'll go half and half again, I think. Ish. And right, what have I got to send out? Next to nothing again. So I think I've got, while I've not got many forces, I think I've got to continue punching down. So we'll look for the 5th place. Problem with punching down though is they've only got 2,000 land. I was trying to remember who was in 3rd. Yeah, they've got 5,000 land and they haven't got many footmen. They've got a lot of castles, but hardly any footmen. So I might take a punt on them, but it's going to be a very small attack. See what I can take from them. Oh, it's December. Right, so I maintained my 4th position, so it's the end of the game, which kind of crept up on me. And I'm in 4th place, so that's my barony. Looking a lot more sparse than it was when I started. I've got, see, the city on the horizon is a lot smaller than it was when I started. That idea is, I don't know if you remember the original Civilization, but as you progressed in the game, you got to build bits onto your palace, which was on the horizon there. And you don't get to build your city in this game, but you do see it grow and shrink depending on how well you're doing in the game. That's basically a reflection of your rank. And oh, actually, let's look at the report. There's a report on the end screen here for your own player, because you might want to know how the attacks went. So my attack with 60 knights against the 3rd place Neville's got me 640 land, which is not a huge amount, but it was more than I was getting in earlier turns. More people settled. I built. Yeah, I was stupid. There was no point recruiting things on the last turn because I've now got all these footmen and things, but the game's over. So yeah, that's my barony. Let's look at some of things. Let's see who won and what they look like. You see a nice big city on the horizon. You see down in the lower left there, you can see like a Disney castle. That's that appears if you've got more than 100 castles in your barony. And if you've got less than that, you only get the you can see the castle next to it, which is more the sort of historic style, the sort of castles that we're used to seeing in England. And just above that castle on the left there, you see a tiny little Motte and Bailey castle there. That's what you get if you've only got castles in single digits. So there's actual meaning to the graphics you see on the map, but not that you can sort of travel and the positions of things on the map don't matter. It's just that things get bigger and you get different buildings depending on how well you're doing. Like if you get more than 10,000 land and the person's just missed out on this, you get a windmill, which I'm going to do another playthrough of this game and see if somebody can get a windmill next turn, preferably me. And then there's also the town that you can see with the church and some houses around it. There's 2 there at the bottom, and those reflect your population. And if you get more than 10,000 peasants, you get a walled city with a big cathedral in it. So there's things to look out for. You can kind of play it as if it's achievements. You can aim to get a walled city or say the windmill or something like that. Let's see how the worst place people have got. The Howards had 1,303 land, a tiny little settlement on the horizon, tiny little town. Yeah, not much of anything really. No fairy tale castle, just one castle at the bottom left there, and then a couple of little Motte and Baileys. So, yep, so I'm going to take one more playthrough and see if I can get better than 4th. Now, I tend to stream for between 1 and 2 hours, so let's see where that takes me. So escape to end. Oh yes, of course, this was a quick and dirty jam game, so you escape again to exit, and that takes you back to the DOS prompt. So let's run it again. And I shall play Villiers again. And that's all there is to that screen. I won't read all this out again. You need to be the best and whatnot until the young king comes of age. So here we are back at 4,000 land, peasants and gold. Full complement of starting complement of castles. So let's try and do a bit better this time. So I think again, I might actually spend more on castle. No, I won't. I won't spend 20 on castles because that means I can't spend so much on knights and footmen. So I'll just have 100 of those, like I did last time, 100 of those, and hope that the money that I have left is enough to pay them. I shall find out if not. Right, and then we make the attack. And again, I'll just have an arbitrary decision. I've got no mountains in the background of my barony, so I look to see if anybody has all mountains. Yep, Cavendish. So let's attack them. And again, I'll send half of what I've got. It's a good starting gambit, is this. And done. And then let's keep my fingers crossed that I have more land than I started with. No, that went pathetic. I went from first place, well, joint first place to 8th. So let's see why. So I sent 200 knights, 2,000 footmen. I took 888 land. I think the reason that I didn't take much land, my guess, is that 2 people attacked Cavendish on that first turn. So we had to share the land. It's not that there's no official alliances, and I don't even know who else would have attacked Cavendish. But the way it works is that if you get 2 big attacks against you, then it's your 2 attackers ranged against you. They're proportionally bigger than you, so they take more land, but they have to share it. And they share it in proportion to the forces that they sent against you. So, and I was attacked by Delapole, who took 1,100 land from me. And the De Veres, who took 1,100 land from me. So 600 people settled in my barony. I built more castles than I usually do. I did manage to pay for all the castles and knights and things that I asked for. So, but because I had so many big attacks against me, well, the 2 big attacks, I'm behind on castles. So let's spend. I think what I'm going to do is buy 1 castle, put me back up to 40. And I can't train very many knights at all. I'm going to train 50 and 450 footmen. Right, let's see who I'm going to attack. So I'm in 8th place. So I shouldn't have, I was going to say I shouldn't have ideas beyond my station, but noticing I have quite a lot of knights. So I could maybe, if I risk sending a decent number of footmen along with the knights, I could maybe afford to attack somebody who is quite a bit ahead of me. So instead of doing my usual thing and looking at what the rankings are of other people, I shall go and look to see who has more than the 4,000 land they started with. So there's Vermont's in 3rd with 4,800 and odd. Oops. 5th. Yeah, the De Veres have got 5,000. The Nevilles, 5,600. And the Percys have got exactly the 4,000 land they started with. The thing is, if you look at the defences, 50 castles, 500 knights, 4,500 footmen, they're much more well defended for that 4,000 land than they were at the start of the game. So I don't think it's worth attacking the Percys. Let me just remind myself who was in third. Yeah, see, they've got a lot of castles, but not so many footmen. I think I'll attack the Beaumonts. I'll just check the second and first place people, but I don't think they're going to be. Well, actually, the second place has got more land, but they haven't got that many more castles. They've only got one more castle, and they've still got not that many footmen. So okay, I'll revise that. The De Vere's looking at like a better target for me. So I'll just check the first place barony. I can't remember which one it was now. The Nevilles. Ooh, yeah, they've got quite a few more castles, but they've got a lot less footmen. So yeah, I think these are actually looking like the best target. They've got the largest amount of land with the fewest forces in proportion. So let's attack them and send a decent number of knights against them. I'm not going to make the same mistake as I did last game and leave myself with no knights. So I'm just going to send, in fact, I'll send 234. I'll leave 200 behind. And I think maybe I'll send that many and leave 1,000 footmen behind. And I'm just counting on this pulling me up a little bit. So we'll go done and see how that attack goes. I can't lose position now. I can't get worse than 8th. So that has had a good effect. I'm in 4th position. I've got 4,400 land. So goodness, I think I took 2,000 in all, but only 8 gold. The fact I've got 8 gold left tells me that I didn't go bankrupt, but I'm obviously not doing any spending this turn. So let's see what the report says. And I took 1,800 land from the Nevilles, and I'm guessing that I didn't lose any. Nobody attacked me. 1,700 people moved in. Yeah, I only trained 50 knights and drafted 450 footmen. So I'll need to be careful with what I send out this turn, especially because I can't replace them. I paid 1,200 gold for the upkeep of troops and things. So let's see. I think looking at those numbers, I'm going to keep 200 knights behind like I did last turn and 1,000 footmen, which means I'm not sending out a big attack. So I think this turn I should punch down, depending on how much land the 5th position barony has, because I'm in 4th. So let's look for them. Oh yeah, they're in 5th position. They've still got more than 4,000 land. They've got fewer footmen than I have. I've forgotten how many castles I had. I've not been buying castles. So let's have a look at me again. Yeah, I've got a reasonable number of castles to defend against them. So was it Cavendish? Yes, it was Cavendish. One of the things you can do to speed things up is you can use the numbers 1 to 8 to directly go to a particular barony if you remember which number the barony is. Because I chose Villiers as the last one at number 8, so I can always press 8 to get back to my barony. Yeah, but it doesn't show the barony number on here. It shows the ranking, which changes every turn, but not the permanent number in the ordering. So, and I think it would be confusing to put that on the screen because you've got rank of 5th and barony number 2. It'd be confusing. So it's just a little thing where if you can remember what the order of the baronies is on the start screen, you can use the keys 1 to 8 to get to them. Right, so Cavendish, I shall do the attack. So 127 knights, 874 footmen, and see if I maintain my position. Yes, I maintained and improved my position, and I have 5,000 land now. So let's see what happened. I took less land than I thought I would, 646. That's probably down to either down to their defences or perhaps down to them being attacked by multiple baronies. I'll have a look at them in a minute and see what position they're in, because if they've gone right down in land and ranking, then it means that somebody else attacked them as well. Because that's, yeah, I was expecting, 1,000 land or so from that attack. So 1,100 people, nearly 1,200 settled. I paid 1,100 gold. So let's have a look at Cavendish. Yeah, 7th place, and they're down to 2,000 land, and I only got 600. So I think these unlucky souls have been attacked by 3 different baronies at once. Because I got about 1/3 of the land that they lost. So let's go back and look at me again. I've got 1,600 gold, so I can afford to do a bit of spending this time. Look at my number of knights. I'm going to try and keep 200 knights back at a time. So I'm not going to be sending many knights out this turn. So let's see what I can afford to spend. Well, before I spend, let's just check how many castles I've got. 55, just like last time. So I'll leave that number of castles as it is, and just buy. I'll favour knights over footmen. So I'm spending 1,000 on knights and 600 on footmen. So again, because I'm not sending out a big attack, I will punch down. I'll attack. I'll look at the 3rd rank player and see how they are doing. The De Veers, they've still got more than 4,000 land. They've got a lot of footmen though. So we'll check who's in 4th, which I think I already zoomed past. Yeah, so compare their 2,900 footmen to... Oh, they've got fewer footmen than the 4th place. I think they've got more castles. Let me just check. No, they don't. They've got fewer castles and fewer footmen than the 4th place barony. But obviously they've got more land because that's how the rankings are measured. So let's attack these. And yeah, I'll just do a small attack, so I'm not going to take much land from them. And let's see where that gets me. If I'm lucky, I'll maintain my 2nd position. No, I didn't, but I only slipped back to 3rd, so that's not bad. I have lost a lot of castles though. I had 55 and now I've got 43, so let's see how that happened. So yeah, I sent the pathetic 80 knights and 500 footmen against them, and I took 700 land. But the Persons attacked me and took 1,500 land. So luckily that was the only attack against me. So 900 people turned up. I trained 100 knights and 600 footmen. 1,000 gold for the upkeep. Now I've got 326 knights. And I'll do the same thing. I'll keep back 300 knights and 1,000 footmen. Sorry, I'll keep back 200 knights and 1,000 footmen and send the rest off on attack. Let's punch up again. Well, I'll see what the 2nd position barony is doing. Right, they've got 50 castles and 1,400 footmen and quite a bit of land. So let's have a quick look at the 4th place. 45 castles, but a lot of footmen. So when you're doing the calculations, I mean, I tend not to take this game that seriously as to start getting calculators out. But one castle is worth 10 knights or 1,000 footmen in. One castle, 10 knights, 100 footmen are equivalents in battle. So this barony has 500 fewer, 5 fewer castles, but I think about 1,000, 1,200 more footmen. So this is a harder nut to crack, and they've got less land. So I shall attack these, and I shall send 126 knights against them and 479 footmen, and see where that gets me. It's May, and I'm third, aren't I? So that's not bad. Oh, second place. So I've moved up again. Got 5,300 land. Look at the amount of gold there. I've got 3,900 gold. So that's nearly as much gold as you start with. So let's look at the reports. So I attacked with 126 knights and 479 footmen. That got me 1,071 land. So I'm guessing that nobody attacked me. No. 1,000 people settled in the kingdom. I paid less than 1,000 for the upkeep. So now I get to spend this 3,900 gold. And again, before I spend anything, let me just remind myself how many castles I've got. 51. I think I'll leave it at that. That's a reasonably healthy number. Oops, no, I didn't want to look at the reports again. I wanted to spend. So I won't buy castles. I'll buy 200 knights and 1,500 footmen, leaving a bit of gold in the treasury. Let's see who we attack. So I'm in second place. If I leave 200 knights behind, that means I'm attacking with 30. Yeah, I can't. If I follow my normal rule of leaving 200 knights and 1,000 footmen behind, I'm going to be sending out a really pathetic attack. And I'm minded to actually do this because I've trained 200 knights. If I keep 200 knights, then I'll have 400 knights next turn. So I think I won't exactly sit it out, but I will attack. Let's check again. The first position player, just remember who's third. De Vere's third. Neville is first. So Neville's got 86 castles and 1,300 footmen. De Vere's got 50 castles. So if we treat those 50 castles as 5,000 footmen, that's like 6,100. This is like 9,900. So that's the equivalent in footmen if you treated the castles as footmen, because they are probably going to send some footmen out. But yeah, this is heavily defended, this barony, although they do have a lot of land. I think I'm going to attack the De Vere's. I'm not going to get much out of it, of course, because I'm just sending 30 knights and 112 footmen. So I expect to get, like 100 land back out of this. But even if somebody attacks me, I will still have 400 knights. Well, that was theory. I don't have 400 knights. What happened? Did I not recruit the knights? Yeah, look, I've got 0 gold. I'm in first position, which is good. I've got 0 gold, which tells me that I probably overspent last turn. Yep, I attacked De Vere. I got 308 land, which is more than I was expecting. Nobody attacked me, which was very lucky. 2,400 people settled in my barony. Where it says people paid 811 gold in tax, that's before these 2,400 people arrived. If I remember right from when I wrote this game, one peasant gives you 1 gold. So 811 peasants is probably what I had left after I did all that recruitment. So I built no castles, trained 200 knights and 1500 footmen, but I lost 201 knights and 1254 footmen. So, and I paid what I had left to the upkeep of what was left. So yeah, that is not looking good with castles. I've got quite a bit of land and not much to defend it with. No spending power at all. So I rarely do this, but I think what I'm going to do is sit this one out. I'm not going to make any attacks. The interesting thing is, the barony that was in first position last turn had about 8,000 land. So, and I didn't attack them. So let's see, it was number 6 barony, wasn't it? The Nevilles. Yeah, they lost 3,000 land. But look how well defended they are compared to me. If the computers actually played intelligently, they will be looking at that and thinking, oh, no, this is me. Villiers is the easiest pickings because I've got more land and fewer defences. So normally if you sat out every turn in this game, you would lose drastically. I've done that just as an experiment. You end up with about 200 land and you just a white expanse of nothing on your map. So, but I'll try it for 1 turn and keep my fingers crossed that I don't get huge numbers of attacks against me. Yeah, I mean, I have gone down quite drastically, but I still have 4,300 land. So, and a lot of money. That's the thing about sitting out, is that you get lots of money because you're not recruiting, and you get money when you send out footmen because they go looting, but not as much as if you leave the peasants at home. So I was attacked with 81 knights and 289 footmen. They took 1,200 land from me, knocked down a few castles, and that was it. So I was lucky to get away with a single attack. I paid 606 gold. So I have to be careful this time. I've got 2,600 gold. I have to be very careful not to spend it all. So I think I'm going to get 6 castles. I will go for 100 knights. And just for the sake of increasing the number, I'll go for 100 footmen, leaving 1,000 behind, which means that's leaving 1,000 gold in the treasury. What do I have? I don't really want to sit out another turn. So I think I'll go back to my previous strategy of sending out half my forces on attack and keeping half behind. So if I look for the 4th place, let's bear in mind what I've got. Well, actually, I've got very little in defence. Let's see who's in 4th. They don't have that much. In fact, apart from castles, they've got a lot more castles than I do. They've not got that many footmen. Let me just check 3rd place out of interest. Yeah, they've got a lot more castles and more footmen. So I think the 4th place Cavendishers are probably most. Actually, before I commit to that, let's just look at the 6th place. Right, Netherlands have got about 1,000 less land. Oh, they've got an awful lot of footmen and a lot of castles. Yeah, I don't think I want to be attacking them. So let's officially it's punching up because these people are ahead of me, but it feels more like punching down with the tiny amount of forces they've got. So we'll send 100 knights and 476. We'll leave 500 footmen behind. Let's see if this pulls me up from 5th position. No. But my defences are starting to look a bit more healthy. And my money as well is reasonable. So let's have a look at the reports. Yep, I took 777 land. But the Persians attacked me and took 1,400. So 700 people turned up. That's what I built and trained. There's what I paid in upkeep, 611 gold. So let's spend, but be careful. So I'll buy 3 castles. I'll just gradually increase the number of castles. I'll buy 100 knights again. And I'll recruit 500. I think I'm actually going to do a different strategy this turn. Although I'll probably end up sending the same number of troops, in that I will only send what I've recruited. And in the case of the knights, it means that my numbers will go up and up because I won't lose all 100 knights. You don't lose any knights in defense. So I'm not going to lose 100 knights when I attack. I'll lose a portion of them. So I buy 100 knights, send 100 knights, I'll probably lose, at a guess, about 70. So I'll end up with 30 more knights than I started with. The footmen, I'll just have to see what I've got there. Yeah, I'm only going to send out... I could send out 500 footmen, but that would leave 71 defending the barony. We'll see what the strengths are of the people in the positions I'm going to attack. So again, I'll look for who's in 4th, 1 position above me. Although on the way, I'll just check out the 3rd place. Right, so they've got 1,400 footmen and 59 castles. 4th place, it's got 66 castles. I think it might be time to punch down, because I just went past the 6th position player, Cavendish. They've only got 2,800 land, but the number of footmen is tiny. The number of castles, it's more than mine, but it's still not many. So I think... Yeah, I can't be bothered to work out proportionally whether this is better, because they've not got that much land, so I won't be getting much land for this attack. But I think... I recruited 100 knights. I'm tempted to send only 47. Because I'm pushing up. No, I'll send 100 knights. And I'll send 250 footmen. Let's see how this works. I'm still in 5th position. Although, I can't remember now whether I've got more land or less than I had before. So, I'm getting the reports. So I took 592 land, so I took nearly 600 land in that attack. And 780 land was taken from me by Cavendish, the same people I attacked. So we've just swapped land and soldiers, lost soldiers. But I got 1,100 people turning up. I built the castles, and trained and recruited and drafted people and things. I managed to pay everybody. I think the number of castles I've got is... No, it's gone down, hasn't it? Because it was 30-something last term. And I've got 1,000 gold, so it's not that good. So I have to spend carefully. I can only afford 100 knights, and that's if I spend all of my gold. I'm going to risk it. I know what happened last time. I'm going to risk it because I'm in a desperate position now, and I don't want to send out like pathetic numbers of knights. And I'll go back to the strategy of sending out half of my forces on attack. So again, I'll look to see who's in 4th. Is it still Cavendish? No, Cavendish have gone down to 7th. I bet somebody else attacks them as well as me. If I punch down to Delapole, they've got not much land. What I really need is land and money, and the Delapoles don't have much of either. So the Nevilles, they're at quite a bit of gold, reasonable amount of land, although they do have quite a bit of defences, but we'll risk this. And yeah, I think I'll send exactly half of the knights I have, and about half of the footmen. And let's see how that goes. Did I remember to spend? I think I did. I'll just check. Spend? Yes. There we go, 100 knights. So let's see how this goes. I am still treading water here, aren't I? I'm still on 5th position. So I gained 800 land in my attack against the Nevilles. I lost 600 land to the Cavendishes, but I lost another 600 land to the Howards. Yeah, that did me in 2 people attacking me at once. So I've got an influx of people. There's my 100 knights. I paid 655 gold. Trust me, not every game I play goes this badly. I do get games that go badly. I get games that go worse than this. But I do occasionally get to be in first. So, yeah, I've got next to no gold as well. So I think I'll just recruit the 80 knights that I can afford. Let's see who's in 4th. It's the Nevilles again. So let's try what I did last time and see if I get a better result. Let's attack them with half of my knights, half of my footmen, which is now next to nothing. Maybe I should have spent on footmen actually. Yeah, before I go on, I think I'll revise my spending. Spend 40 on there, and sorry, but train 40 knights and 400 footmen. It's November, so we'll have one last turn. I'm in 7th, so my plan didn't work. I took 700 land from the Nevilles, but I must have at least one attack against me. Cavendishes took 345 land from me. Delapels took 226. Oh, and the De Veres took 627. With 3 attacks against me, I'm surprised I'm not in last position. Oh, 4 attacks against me. So a few people settled in the barony. I trained and drafted what I could. So yeah, it's pointless me recruiting anything because it's December's turn. We don't get another turn. So I think what I need to do is an all-out desperate attack. So let's look at the higher positions. So Beaumont is 2nd. They'll have the most land, 5,000 land. Lots of defences. If I work this out, 72 castles is worth 7,200 footmen. So that's 8,400 defending. Let's find the first position. Ooh. Oh yeah, 111 castles, that is worth 11,000 footmen. But they've got an awful lot more land. And just out of interest, who's in 3rd? Percy. They've got 4,800 land and the equivalent of 6,000 footmen. I think that the best return we'll get is probably attacking these. We'll get slaughtered and we'll also only take a small fraction of that land. But I think we'll get more land than we would from attacking either of the other 2. So attack these, send out everything. Oh yeah, I'll just demonstrate the input on this. Normally I've just been typing the numbers in, but I like to support input just using the arrow keys and a fire key, because that means that you can easily set this game up to play on mobile. You set up a few on-screen keys and you can still play. So if you hit the up and down, move up and down as you imagine. If you press the right key, it counts up 1 at a time. But once you go to 10, it counts up 10 at a time. And then 100 at a time. And then once you hit the maximum, once you get to like 500 and then go up, it'll just go 553. And then counting down, you can still use precision because you've got units there, 553. It starts taking the units off. Then if you carry on going on the left, takes off the 10s and then takes off that. I was quite proud of that. I thought it was quite neat. So done. No spends, of course. Let's see where we end up. So we were in 7th, was it? And we're up in 4th, exactly the same as last time. But it was quite a comeback. And let's see how we did. So 3,100 land, so it's less than when we started. And yeah, the whole place looks a lot more sparsely populated than it was, but we'll see what happens. So we attacked the De Veres. We took 1,700 land from them. But we were attacked in our turn, and they took 3,400 land. They took, 340 land. The Howards took 360 land from us. So I think we gained 1,000 land out of that altogether. So we got some people, we paid some gold, and this is where we ended up. So who did we attack again? The De Veres. So let's see where the De Veres ended up after our attack. They were still in first place. So they had about 8,800 land, I think, and I took 1,700 off them. But they're still in first place. So let's see what they're like. Yeah, they're 7,900. So they obviously gained a bit of land from someone else after I took their land. So what do we see in this? We don't see a windmill, but we do see a Disney castle, fairy tale castle down at the bottom left. So they did quite well. They got just over 100 castles. Let's see if there's anything else. There's nothing else interesting on there. I'll point out some of the interesting graphics to look out for when we go back around to the title screen again. Let's see who's in last place so that we can laugh at them. Cavendish. Yeah, 1,900 land. I don't think they did as badly as whoever came 8th in the last game. So let's end this play and I'll do one more playthrough. One more attempt to get into first position. Right, oh yes, I mentioned the graphics. You see on the top left there, the windmill. That's what you see if a barony has 10,000 land. The jousting knights in front of their tents, you see that if you manage to maintain 1,000 knights, but that very rarely happens because you're usually sending your knights out. Maybe if I play for unofficial achievements, I can try and keep as many knights back as I'd like, but doing that you probably won't end up in first place. It's the sort of trick you can pull maybe if you're doing really stupidly well. If you've had really good luck throughout the game, you can maybe afford to just recruit knights for the sake of having knights. We're seeing the fairy tale castle that's in the bottom left. Up in the top right, that's the cathedral with the walled city. That's what you get if you manage 10,000 population. The trebuchet and the archers and the spearmen, that's 10,000 footmen. If you get 10,000 footmen, then you see that. Then it's not shown on here because that's just the icon for start game. But if you get 10,000 gold, you get a huge market with chests of gold. So let's start the game. Yep, 12 months to be out in front. So let's start off with the spending. And I did no better last time by buying 15 castles instead of 10. So 1,000. I might this time start by sending out only what I've recruited. Maybe. Actually, not on the first turn, no. The first turn, I think I will send out 200 knights and 2,000 footmen. Just to try and get a head start. So let's see, I have sea and mountains. Let's see who is in the forest. These will attack these. It's a completely arbitrary way of deciding who to attack on the first turn. Yeah, I'll send 200 against them and 2,000 footmen. Another thing you can do is divide this, send 1,000 footmen and 100 knights against 2 different players. But I don't know if that gets you in any better return. So I think it's just the luck of who else is attacking the people that you send your forces against. So we'll call that done. Hang on, no we won't. Let me just review what I've done. Yeah, I've done the spending, haven't I? Yes. So let's go done and see where I end up. 6th position. So maybe I should have split my attacks. So let's see the report. So we gained 888 land for our attack, but we lost 1,100 land to the De Veres and another 1,100 land to the Nevils. So yeah, that did us in having 2 baronies attackers on the first turn. But yeah, maybe we should have attacked 2 different baronies. So we have very little to spend. So the thing is, with only 351 gold to spend, what that means is that I can only draft 351 peasants at most. So I'll be left with about 1,400 peasants. If I spend all that gold, I'll have 1,400 peasants, which means I will get my tax the next turn. So yeah, this is terrible. Let me just check the numbers of. Right, I've got 434 knights, but only 3,000 footmen. I think I went back into reports. I think I will spend this turn's money on footmen. Right, so what strategy am I going to use? I think I'm going to make a big attack, and because I'm way down and I need to make up some ground, I'm going to send out all but 200 knights and all but 2,000 footmen. So let's see who is easy pickings. I'll start by looking out for the 5th and the 4th positions. So the 5th position there in front of us, 3,000 land. They've got a lot of footmen there. And who's in 4th? They've got, let me just compare, 2,800. Right, they have, if I multiply up those castles, that's worth 5,400 footmen. So 5,000, yeah, that's about 9,000 footmen's worth when you figure in the castles. But how much land have they got? Oh, they've got a lot more land. 5,000. No, I didn't work that out correctly, did I? 9,000 footmen. Defending 4,800 land. These people have the equivalent of 3,900 castles, call it 4,000, so 4,700 footmen defending a lot less land. Yet neither of these look like easy pickings. What about who's in 7th behind me? Oh, there's no 7th. There's joint 6th. I think the Percys might be my best bets. They've got, yeah, they've only got 2,600 land there. Let's check the 5th position again. They've got 3,500. Since I'm sending out a lot of knights and still quite a lot of footmen, I think what I'm going to do is attack these, because although they've got a lot more defences, they also have a lot more land. So let's try this. And let's send out 234 knights. And I could also do an all-out desperate one-off attack and send everything. But I'll end up with no knights on the next turn. Yeah, I'll lose most of them. It's 3192, isn't it? So 1192. Yeah, if I sent out a big desperate attack, I will get a lot more of that land back. I got done, but I can revisit this. Let me just remind myself what I did with the spending. Yeah, I've not recruited any knights. And hardly any footmen because I've got no money. So it's not a good idea to send out everything this month, because I will have far too few forces next month. So yeah, I'll do that. And at least I know that if all else fails, I'll have 200 knights, assuming I can pay everybody, and hopefully about 2,000 footmen. Here goes. March, I'm still in 6th. So let's see what happened there. So I did get nearly 1,600 land from that attack. So that was a good idea. And took 11 castles as well. But, yep, I was attacked by the Nevilles, who took 1,000 land from me. So I'm actually ahead on land compared to what I was. One thing this game doesn't tell you is how much land you gained, how much better off your money is, and things like that than last turn. You have to keep track of that, or not care. 1,500 gold in tax, so hopefully I should have a reasonable amount of money, and I don't, because I had to pay all that out in maintenance. So, right, I've got a bit more money to spend than I did last time. So let's look at my numbers. I've got 277 knights, but less than 2,000 footmen. So I think what I'm going to do is go 50-50. I've got 31 castles, which is not good, but I think really, given that you start with 40 castles and 4,000 land, a good measure of whether you have enough castles is just multiply it by 100, and if it's equal to or more than your land, then you're doing okay. And it's more or less equal to the 3,100 land if I multiply it by 100. So yeah, that looks fine. So I think I'm going to keep to the rule that I used before. Keep 200 knights and 1,000 footmen behind. So, given that I'll be sending out a small attack, I probably want to punch down. Yeah, the 7th position, De Vere Barony, has less land than I do, but not by much. So, and the defences are about equal to mine. So I'll send 77 knights and 852 footmen against them. I don't expect to get a lot of lands, but if I don't get attacked by 2 other baronies again this turn, I should at least hold my own, if not advance. So let's see how this goes. I'm still in 6th, but with more land than I had before. I've got 3,900 land. One thing I didn't mention before is that there is a fixed amount of land in the game. 32,000 land in total in the game. Land isn't created, it doesn't disappear. So if I, in 6th position out of 8, have nearly 4,000 land, that means that the people ahead of me don't have that much more. And I can check that out by looking to see, yeah, 5,000 in the 2nd place, 5,700. So it's not like the previous game where the person out in front had like a runaway 8,000 land. It also means that these people are well defended, as you can see, with like 57 castles, but they don't have that much more land. So this is a game where I might be better punching down, at least at the moment. But first of all, spending. I've got 700 gold to spend, so not a lot. Oh, let me check what I've got in. Yeah, I'm down to 269, 1,600 footmen. I think I need to go not quite 50-50. I'll go, oops, there, that's what I meant to do. So I'll spend 400 of it on knights and 300 on footmen. Right, so let's see. I should have bought castles, but I don't think I could afford them actually. Yeah, yeah, 700. Actually, I could afford castles, and maybe it's worth doing. Let me check. I've got 34 castles, 39. I think I should buy 5 castles, which means I've got next to nothing to spend on anything else. That gets me up to that rule that I said before of take your land, divide it by 100, that's how many castles you should have. So, and because that means I'm not recruiting many knights, I think I'll stick with what I did on the last turn. Keep 200 knights and 1,000 footmen behind. So yeah, it very much looks like I ought to punch down, because I think the people below me are also going to have a reasonable amount of land. Let me see. Who's in 7th? Well, the person in 8th place has nearly 2,000 land. Let's see who's in 5th. They've got 4,000 land, but they do have a lot more castles. They've got a lot of forces in general. So, oops, where was the person in 7th? There they are. Yeah, you see, I'll best them when I send my attack, probably. But I'm not going to get very much land from them. I don't think I've got any good choices to make this turn, so I'll just stick with this idea. Punch down with a small attack and see how it goes. It's only April, so if I'm lucky, I've gone up 1 position. If I'm lucky, I can just send out small attacks, hope that I don't get any big attacks against me, and maybe advance. So I attacked, I got 658 land, which is about what I expected, not a huge amount. I was attacked in my turn and they took 1,200 land. That's why I'm down to the land I'm at. So 600 people turned up. I've got 200 footmen, no more knights. So this is going to be a problem. I've got a decent amount of gold though, over 1,000 gold. So yeah, I've got 217 knights. I can no longer afford to keep back 200 knights. So let's spend, or 1,000 footmen. Since both my numbers of knights and footmen are pathetically low, I think I'm going to split the difference. I forgot to check how many castles I had, but I don't think I can afford to spend money on castles. Okay, I've got nearly enough castles to defend the land. So let's do the rounds again. We'll look out for who's in 4th and who's in 6th. 4th. So they've got 51 castles. Well, they've got 51 castles defending 4,500 land. That doesn't look good. Let's just check the 3rd position. Yeah, they've got more castles as well. They're castle heavy. So who's in 6th? The Percys. Yeah, everybody has more castles proportionally than I do. Let's check 7th position. Yeah, even they have more castles per land than I do. But not very much. So I think 6th position is maybe the best. Let me look at who's in 4th again. And they've got a lot more land, but yeah, they've got... Yeah, I don't like the look of all those castles, that's the thing. But never, let's just give it a go. And now I shall commit to just keeping 100 knights back. Now, I could still keep 1,000 footmen back. Let's see how that works. Because yeah, let's just see how that works. I was 6th. Was I 6th? I can't remember now. No, I was 5th, and now I'm down in 6th. So I have suffered for what I did. Let's see what happened. I took 800 land. Somebody took 1,700 land from me. So, and yeah, I've got 700 gold. So again, I just don't have much spending power. So I think what I will have to do is I'll go back to doing half and half on my spending. So I spent 400 on knights, 390 on footmen. And I can't be keeping set numbers of knights and footmen back now, because otherwise I'll just carry on sending out pathetic attacks. So I shall go back to the strategy of sending out half my forces. And if my forces go down every turn, then there's nothing much I can do about it. So I'm in 6th. Let's attack who's in. Let's check who's in 5th. And I think I'll just fire off an attack and see how it goes. 95 knights. 600 footmen. Let's see how June goes. Right, I'm down into 7th now, so that didn't go very well at all. But I think it's a case of rinse and repeat until I get a break. Yeah, I attacked them. I took 800 land. Somebody took 800 land from me. Luckily, that was the only attack. So I kind of... My own barony gained a bit of land, I think. But someone else obviously gained land and zoomed past me. So let's go through the spending loop again. Spend 30 on knights, 29 on... oops. 290, let's have 299 footmen. And let's see who's in 6th place and send half my forces against them. That's the Percys. So attack them with half of 17 is 85. And we'll just call it a nice round 500s. And see how July goes. I've got hardly any land at all. But yeah, just rinse and oops. Yeah, we'll look at the reports first. So I gained 700 land, lost 500, lost another 300, and lost another 600. That's why I lost out 3 attacks against me. Yeah, you just have to weather that kind of storm when it happens. So rinse and repeat, 35 of those, 420 of those, oh, nice number. And let's see who's in 6th position again. I could do an all-out desperate attack, actually. Because we're getting late in the year. No, I don't think it's worth it, because I could send like 140 knights and 600 footmen. But I don't think that I would net enough land or money or anything to make it worth exhausting my entire forces in one turn. So I'll just do that and see what we get back. I'm in 8th. So let's see why. Yep, I got 300 land, nearly 400. And again, an attack that took 800 land from me. Only one attack, but I lost twice as much land as I gained. Right, so let's... I've got 200 gold. Let's do half and half again. Let's attack whoever's in... Well, we could do... Yeah, look who's in 7th. They've only got 1,000 land. I think it's time for a desperate attack. It's late in the year. And if we end up losing everything, we're already in 8th position. So I think we'll attack the largest barony because they've got the most land to take. They are well defended, but in proportion to the size, they're probably not better defended than anybody else. So let's see if this gets us off 8th position. Yes, we advanced to 7th position. We've got more gold than we did last time. We've got barely any forces left at all. Let's carry on doing, what's our 56 to 28? So it's October. I think it's time for another desperate attack. We might just carry on doing this for the rest of the year. Find who's in first and just attack with them everything. Attack them with everything, I should say. Still in 7th, but I have quite a lot more land than I did last time. So I took 412 land. Nobody attacked me. So, but I would have lost a lot. I didn't check what I'd lost in that attack, but I probably lost, again, most of my forces. So I think we do the same again. We spend? Yeah, we can spend because it's November. I think what I'll do this time is I'll just recruit knights. And then let's look for who's in first again. I mean, 96 castles. Let me check who's in second, because if they've got nearly as much land, then it might be worth attacking them. They've got 5,800. Yeah, they've got 7,400, so I don't think it's worth attacking the second place people. We'll attack the first place people, and again we'll send out a desperate. Yeah, I'll stick to one. It means I'm going to have no footmen next turn. But we'll see how that goes. We're still in 7th. We've lost a lot of land. We were in at 2,000. So let's see what happened. We gained 500 land. We got, that can't be the only attack because we lost a lot more land than that. So we got attacked by Delapos and by the Howards. So it is my aim on this last turn. There's no point spending anything because we'll have no use for the troops that arrive. Yeah, I think it's just another all-out attack. We've only got 24 footmen. All-out attack against... let's see who's in 6th ahead of us, actually. See how much land they've got. Is it worth attacking them? They've got 2,000 land. Yeah, I think it might be worth attacking them. Because although they've got a lot less land to take, I mean, who's the first position? Yeah, they've got 4 times as much land. But I think the sheer amount of defences they've got means that we'll hardly any of our forces will get through. And we'll end up just taking a measly amount of land. Let's see how an attack against the Percys does on the last turn. So, done. We were in 7th. Where do we end up? We end up in 7th. But, let's see, goodness me, that barony looks pathetic, doesn't it? Right, so, yeah, we sent the 42 knights and we took 263 land. I don't know if we'd have got as much by attacking the Beaumonts. Yeah, somebody took even more land from us. And then we've got people turning up. Yeah, look at, we've got 7 castles, 6 knights and 4 footmen left. That's why the barony looks pathetic. But we're in 7th place, so how on earth did the 8th people do? They've got more forces than we have, but less land, I think. Well, obviously less land because they're in 8th. And how did the first position people do? They did pretty well. Still no windmill though, they didn't get 10,000 land. Well, they are a runaway success, so they had what, nearly 8,000 land. What about the second? 6,000 land. So it was almost a runaway success, I think. Yeah, they had a third more land than the next people. So yeah, so that's the Anarchic Kingdom. So I think I'll call it there. I've played it 3 times. Not managed to really get anywhere, not managed to get first, and I've streamed for nearly 2 hours, so yeah, I shall call it there. So let's go into the stream ending. Back here because I've realised there's no microphone on the ending screen. So yeah, I was saying I was playing without work and got this picture of this montage of Whitby Abbey placed against a mountainous background that doesn't exist with some gravestones that doesn't exist. Whitby is about 40-50 miles away from me, so I've visited it quite often. But it's a nice little fantasy picture that I found. So yeah, I put that on my stream ending. I will actually, after the stream, I'll update my stream ending screen so that I do have a microphone there. And, so I can say my final goodbyes to everyone. But I shall look to see who is streaming now in the retro community. Max streaming. And I think actually today I'm not going to raid. I'd like to raid Mac, but I'd like to raid Mac when there's more people around than just me, as it looks like in the viewer figures. So I shall just end it there. And my next stream, I may stream on Thursday if you're watching the VOD, or if not, I'll most probably stream on Sunday. I think Sunday is going to be my regular day, but while I'm building up the channel, I'll also do sometimes Tuesdays and Thursdays. So look out for me on Thursday, but don't wait around for me because I may not stream that day. The time to really look out for me is Sunday. So I shall see you then. Thank you for watching and goodbye.